Is it capped? I see 9 people. Did they cap it at 10 or something? 12. No, I think we're good. Should be fine. Okay, so I spoke with Until One Mill several occasions. He agreed to do it with me. I was fine doing it for like 10 people, 12 max. Ideally like 8 or 10. Um, but then I had a ton of fucking people DM me interested in it, and I'm sure like that'll dwindle down, right? Some people will decide that they're not interested, whatever. Um, and I also had some concerns about like time zone stuff. Between people, some people, people live all over the fucking place, right? So if I'm doing one-on-ones, or if we have the psychologist coming in, on a webcam thing, it would need to somebody would need to cover alternate time zones, right? So, yeah, this will be a good way to have an overlap. Um, we'll be doing it together, but the clients will be, they'll be divided mostly by time zone. So, people that live in the U.S. or even West Coast U.S. or even Asia would probably be with me for the most part. Whereas people that live mostly in Europe, or especially Eastern Europe, would be with Until One Mill, because I just would not be able to accommodate much of those. I mean, it'd be fine because there's weekends and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so look, the idea is I wanted to replicate kind of at least how I learned to trade. I wanted to replicate that, not necessarily prop firm experience, but sort of that mentor mentee experience, where you have somebody kind of breathing down your neck on every fucking trade, and asking you, if it was a shit trade, basically calling you out for making a shit move. I found that kind of personal accountability helped me a lot. And I think that that's the one big thing that the sessions have been lacking. The sessions, they're great. Like, a lot of people have said that they've learned a lot from them. Um, but I think the price tag for like a fucking year of sessions was like, $4,000 or something, adjusted, price adjusted to Bitcoin. So that just seemed like a lot to me, for what people were getting, right? Most of the sessions kind of sitting in there, a little bit bored sometimes, it really depended on the market, not really getting into any sort of the individualized treatment, right? Some people like to swing trade, some people want to scalp, some people want to position trade. Everyone has their own sort of time frame for what fits with them and what resonates with them. And I couldn't think of a way to accommodate that inside of the scalping sessions. There are some people that participated in the sessions for several months and did extremely well. There are other people that participated in the sessions for several months and didn't do extremely well. And I think it has nothing to do with individual abilities, because you can teach anybody to trade, literally anybody. But I think it has to do with trading styles, learning styles, and psychology. And I think that this would kind of make up for that. Um, so the plan, there's is going to be a schedule. There's a lot to go through here. But basically, the goal is for people that are either full-time traders and want to get better, or people that want to kind of make that move and have the necessary capital to sort of generate a living or generate some sort of an income from trading, whether they have a cushion saved up or whether they have enough, whatever whatever is relative to your standard of living in whatever country you live in. But people that sort of really want to make that next plunge, not necessarily like the session operated largely, not largely, but in part was a signal service, if you will, just in real time and for shorter time frame trades. This would be a more one-on-one catered experience. Essentially, the start of the program would basically be running through some basic stuff, getting charts set up, getting profit views set up, getting all the alerts from trading views set up, putting balances in those accounts, getting a balance in a scalping account, going through risk management, going through statistical probabilities of certain patterns and fractals and setups, just kind of doing that general education for about the first month. I mean, I'm just loosely covering this now because it's in more detail below. And then sort of developing a trading plan for each of the individual participants, with whatever gravitates towards them. Have people do some swing trades, have people do some scalps, look at the statistical analysis of it, tell people what they're shit at, what they're good at, tell them to abandon the stuff that they're shit at, no matter how much they enjoy it or how much they want to do it. Focus on the stuff that they're at, that's actually going to be worth the fuck, that they can actually, improve on. And, if not for the purpose of generating wealth, at least generating income. So, loosely, there's going to be probably half of the year is going to be live sessions, either for either 4-week or 6-week durations, until when Mill and myself will be splitting up and doing live sessions similar to scalping subs now. And that's overall that's going to take up about 6 months out of the year. We're going to cater that to the best of our abilities to market conditions. But there's only sometimes we'll be set up to do sessions and the market will just suck, and we just we won't do them at that point. We will save it and adjust the schedule as needed. We're gonna have a psychologist come in twice throughout the year. She's in Portugal with Until One Mil. She's very good at what she does. She works with some footballers in Europe. She works with poker players, and she's pretty good. She's a good sports and performance psychologist, which I think a lot of people can really benefit from, even if they think they don't need it. You always do, I promise. I mean, there's a reason top athletes pay insane amounts of money for that stuff. So we're going to be footing the bill for those consultations, and then anything afterwards, if you want to continue working with her on your own, that's completely up to you. There's going to be 3 trading competitions in March and July. There will be month-long competitions. Those are going to have about $3,000 in Bitcoin for prizes. It's going to be ROE based, so it's not going to be like raw profit or anything. The purpose of those is just going to be to apply the stuff that you've learned and the stuff that we're teaching you, and sort of get a gauge for your professional development, if you will, right? Kind of simulating like a traditional educational experience where you learn and then you apply and you get graded, and then you learn more and then you apply and then you get graded, and then you learn more and then you get, you apply it all and then you get graded on all of it. So the third competition will run from October 1st to December 15th of next year. It's going to be, almost 3 months long of trading. That one's going to have approximately $7,000 in Bitcoin prizes to first and second place. That's going to be kind of like the coup de grace. Like at that point, we would like to see just about fucking everybody performing at the top of their game. I've spoken with Until One Mil, and we kind of set our expectations for this. We realized that there might be, statistically there might be 1 or 2 people that just really, really struggle and just kind of can't get it going no matter what we do. That's fine, but still there's no excuse to not be making money, even if they're having a really rough go at it. So we would like to see everybody at least making some sort of consistent profit by month 6 to 8, and then at that point, applying it from there. And if if you're making profit right from the get-go, terrific. Just improving that edge, keeping that consistency, and focusing on compounding with good portfolio management would be ideal. So we plan on essentially running through everyone's account statements, trading journals, everything with them one-on-one once every 2 weeks to gauge that development, make sure that we're taking a statistical approach to trading, because anything that isn't statistical is not going to work in the long term. I don't care who you are, you're not going to gut feel your way through every market forever. It's just not going to happen, right? There's too many unknown variables, and the market's always changing, and unless you have some insane fucking psychology that enables you to, essentially change your entire behavior with trading on a dime, Yeah, just trading on gut feel is just not going to get you there. So we're going to be taking a statistical approach to this. We're going to be looking at your Sharpe ratios, profit factors, win rates, loss rates, how often you take trades. I'm personally going to be looking at, how is your performance on days when you take a lot of trades, days when you don't take a lot of trades. Um, your psychology as to how you feel for the week, whether you're feeling optimistic, feeling pessimistic, you just don't fucking know what's going to happen, and then gauging your performance based on how you're feeling. I'm gonna be looking at all that for each and every person. Until one mil will be as well, and we're really gonna try and basically min max people's trading abilities. A lot of people in this server are on the cusp of profitability if they aren't profitable already on a consistent basis. And I don't know, we just kind of believe that this would be the logical next step. The seats for this are not going to be limited to people in the server, but people inside of the server are obviously going to get their first dibs. It is, I'm going to be upfront with you, the cost is a little high, but it's going to be payable over essentially about 4 months now. And you're gonna get at least half of that back through between profit view, journaling services, psychology services, and then prizes as well. It's going to be raw Bitcoin prizes, not like prime bonus margin, right? It's going to be actual Bitcoin that I'm going to be sending to your wallets, okay? Um, so let's go in here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh yeah, if you're not a member, obviously if you signed up for this, you would become a member automatically at that point. I'm trying to think. Yeah, look, we don't have anything pre-packaged, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, you're a scalper, here you go, do these things. Oh, you're a swing trader, here you go, do these things. That's not it at all. It's really going to be about personal growth and development. It's going to be a lot of work for me, but it's something I really wanted to do for a while now, and so I think now is a good time to be pushing for it next year. Um, so the price is going to be, I know everyone's waiting for this, it's going to be 0.75 Bitcoin. Um, it could be paid all at once or zero point 0.7, or it can be paid 0.25, whatever increments, all the way up until March 1st. That's a value that, until when Mill and I jointly decided on, is going to be less when I was running it myself. But now that we have the psychologist and we're running the trading competitions, and until Mill's going to be in there as well, um, we're going to be partnering with the journaling service and all that other jazz. The price went up a little bit. There's no reason. I'm not going to say everybody, because that's there's always going to be a few people that are going to struggle, but there's no reason for at least 90% of the participants to not get that back well before the end of the year. There's going to be no excuse, but it's just something to cover until when Mill and I, for our time, gives us something to do aside from trading, and covers some of the costs associated with this as well, right? So let's go through the schedule just in a little more detail. Ignore the time; the sessions will be different times, obviously, based on whether Till Mill's doing them or I am doing them. We might do them on the same day. It really depends on market price action. There might be some days where the market is so fucking good that we're just staying up all night for 2 days straight, 3 days straight, and trading. That's happened before. Wouldn't surprise me if it were to happen again. It just really depends on how Bitcoin's moving, and how the rest of the market's moving as well. So in January, it will officially start January 11th. So up until December 31st, seats will be open, and at that point, assuming they're not all full. Right now, I still would like to keep it to 20 people or less, depending on the number of people and the number of engagement. If there is some people that that really want in, and we feel like we can make room for them, then we will do so. But I really want to make sure that I can devote about 4 hours every single day to each person. Um, and that's 10 people is technically a 40-hour work week. So I really want to make sure that I'm not overburdening myself or until 1 mil. I want to make sure we have time to focus on everybody. So first month, basically going to be setting up your charts. There's going to be a few different ones. A trend chart. You're going to have a scalping chart. You're going to have basically a nice clean chart for when you need a good bias and you're feeling kind of lost in the market. We're going to have you plot out some key levels on there. Until and Mill and I are going to do joint weekly technical analysis updates that will be recorded, where we basically TA all the major assets across the markets for the week going forward to kind of give people that bias so they can at least hopefully learn, um, in between live sessions and stuff like that, of course. I'm going to go over basic patterns. I'm going to cover statistical probabilities of, things like broadening wedges or head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders, and the statistical odds of them playing out versus when they're in uptrends or downtrends, and whether or not they have daily confirmation bias, all that jazz, so that you're not just punting a fucking head and shoulders. It only has a 30% chance to break down more than a 0.5 retracement of the right shoulder or something. We don't want that. We're going to do a lot of risk management consultation. I mean, a fuck ton. There is a serious issue in the server with at least half the people in here who just absolutely have no fucking idea how to manage their capital. They just have no idea. And I don't know whether it's just because they're disorganized, they don't have a spreadsheet going, something like that. Right? Either they're, not necessarily that they don't know how to manage risk on a per trade basis, but they don't know how to sort of protect themselves, hedge their portfolios, and avoid getting too much exposure in one direction or another on a certain group of assets. I mean, look, when alts are running and when it's quote unquote alt season time, it's very easy to just fucking punt longs on 17 different coins. And look, it's great. Like, you make a ton of money when the market goes, your way in that case, because they all go together. But if your timing sucks, you're just gonna get raped, right? You'll just lose so much money. It'll be paralyzing. So that's just a huge issue, I think, in this server. Another issue is portfolio construction. Look, a lot of people, that at least even that I've talked to, they'll have, let's say they have like 3 or 4 Bitcoin total, and like that's all they have. Um, they'll go ahead and they'll, back when we were on BitMEX, right? They would go and have all of it in a BitMEX account, right? They just pop it all in there, and they're still, they're risking, whatever, $1,000 on each swing trade, and yet they're still having, $30,000 in a BitMEX account, and it's just completely unnecessary. Um, you really should only put as much Bitcoin or money onto a margin exchange as you actually need to take the trades that you want to take. And I'll be covering that in great detail. Reason for this being, one, exchanges get hacked all the time. Two, exchanges go down service wise all the time. Three, slippage, unforeseen market circumstances, you fucking name it. You misclick a button, add a fucking zero somewhere. Um, all those sort of unforced errors are avoidable if you don't keep excess collateral on your margin exchange. Um, it's a huge way to prevent catastrophic loss, which seems to happen to everybody in here at least once a year. I mean, it just does. Whether it's a misclick, an extra zero, I mean, Prime goes down, whatever. Binance goes down. There's a fucking $600 candle in 2 minutes that slips you, 30 times your risk. Stops get skipped and you get liquidated. You name it. There's always something, and I've been there before, so I know that happens, and it sucks because it takes you months to get that back, if you can ever get it back. And that's just detrimental to your success long term as a trader. So we're going to be doing all of that for the first 2.5 weeks. It shouldn't take longer than that. Everyone that's going to be a part of this program is not going to be an idiot. I don't think anyone in here is stupid. I don't think anyone in here doesn't understand basic patterns, indicators, and at least basic concepts of risk management. I kind of expect that everybody knows that. Um, February is going to be focused on mostly one-on-ones with everyone involved. The initial conferences are probably going to be 2 to 3 hours long right off the bat. Um, These are going to be very, very in-depth consultations where, we just want to sort of get to know every participant's trading style and their behavior, and their situation and expectations on a more individual level. This is going to be a long time. I expect that this will take probably the first 2 weeks at least, maybe bleeding into the third week of February. And we're going to be doing just some live sessions in between there as well. That's going to cover not necessarily like taking trades. We might take some trades together, but mainly watching price action, starting to get involved in the market. If we do get involved in the market, everyone will probably, be starting with like a small fractional balance, so that so that they can sort of, get a feel and get into the flow of the price action, and what we're trying to accomplish, without the stress of worrying about losing all their money. March is going to be heavy sessions, almost the entire month of March. Statistically, March tends to be a very good month for trading. I don't know, you can look back anywhere on the chart, you take your pick. March has been typically a great month for traders. For me personally, I've had a great time. Usually March into late April tends to be a really awesome time to be trading. So we'll be doing live sessions for most of that month. Towards the end, I'm gonna do one-on-one reviews. Not the bi-weekly conferences, but an actual like a review, where I take a look at how you've been trading since we started. Back in February. I want to see, statistically, how your account statement's doing. I want to see what your Sharpe ratio is at. I want to see what kinds of trades you're taking, which ones you win, which ones you lose, whether or not you're making any stupid mistakes. And if you do make stupid mistakes, I want you to, explain to me why you made said stupid mistake. Whether it's something as simple as, well, I thought it was going to be, I thought I was really confident, so I went balls deep. Or, oh yeah, my kid started crying, or the pizza guy showed up, or man, I ate Chipotle last night and I had to shit my brains out. I don't care, right? I still want to know why you made a dumb mistake, if you made a dumb mistake. April is going to be the first trading competition. I believe I said March earlier, and that was an error. But it'll be in April. There's going to be, hang on, it's supposed to be 0.25 second place, just for the people that aren't actually listening on voice. All right. So we're going to have the first competition in April. It'll be ROE based. We will have Prime set up a separate trading competition thing for us. It won't matter how much you fund the account with. We don't really care. If you want to, if you're going to want to fund it with $100, then so be it. It's going to be ROE based. I'll tell you right now, though, if anyone starts fucking YOLOing, we're going to be on your ass. We're going to be monitoring those statistics several times a day. If we see anyone make some like massive jumps, you're going to be called in to explain how you made such a massive jump and how much risk you had to take to make that massive jump, and then you're going to have to explain the trade, because odds are you probably fucking YOLO'd, and you happened to get lucky and it worked in your favor. Or maybe not. Maybe it was an educated bet. Maybe you went for like a 25R setup and it just happened to fucking pump on you. Maybe you got lucky. Either way, we're going to be monitoring everyone's performance. Doesn't really matter what's in the account. It's going to be ROE based. I want to see, what your total drawdown is, what your relative drawdown is, how much you're making per trade, how much you're making per day, per week, based on trading frequency, all that stuff. And the prizes are there, one, for you to get some of that sub money back, and also to give you something to trade for. I realize that $1,500, $2,000 isn't a lot of money to trade for, but for the purposes of this competition, or for the purposes of this program, it's at least something. Given that the total cost is going to be in the $7,500, $8,000 region. It's enough to get you interested, I think, and make sure that you're applying yourself and giving it your best effort. And there's going to be sessions during the competition. It's not just my discretion. It'll be Until's as well, right? Where we're kind of working through the market together. And that'll just depend on market conditions that month. Otherwise, it's going to be lots of one-on-ones. During competition months, we'll be doing one-on-ones every week, not every other week, because we really want to be looking at how everyone. We expect people to be trading more during competition months than non-competition months. So there's going to be more to review. More trades means more room for you to fuck up, or more room for you to succeed. So we want to be making sure that we're staying on top of you every single week, making sure that you're not fucking up, and making sure that you're developing at a good pace. Okay. May, this is going to be sort of a midway journal review. Um, this is going to take a long time. These are probably going to be 4-hour conferences. As part of the program, you're going to be expected to catalog. If not, I'm not expecting you to journal every little scalp you take, but any meaningful trade you take, I'm expecting you to catalog it, plan it, take it. All you have to do is just take a screenshot with trading view of the trade setup before you entered, and then a screenshot of it after you closed the trade, whether it was in profit, stopped out, target, whatever. And then just sort of kind of take those. Like, you don't need to paste this. I mean, I'll go through it, but you're just basically cutting and pasting links. Um, as you're taking the trades, or at least keeping them updated. No more than like 3 or 4 days behind, so that you don't get too far behind, because it'll be impossible to catch up. So I'm going to be peeling through all those with people one on one. I'm going to be making sure, or until Will and I are both going to be, having people take some of their best trades, some of their worst trades, reviewing them together. Any trade of significance really will be under heavy review, whether you made a lot of money or lost a lot of money, or whether you found an edge that really works for you, or you found something that you keep trying, but it's just not playing out statistically. You're just not having the expectancy. Um, we're going to be reviewing all that. It's going to take a very, very, very long time. Um, Probably almost the whole month of May will be consumed with those calls. I mean, even if we do one a day, um, it's still 4 or 5 hours per person per day for 20 days, at least 10 days. It would be a lot, especially when we're doing some live sessions in the mix as well. Um, I'm also going to kind of update your trader profile. I want to see, I'm going to look back at my notes and some things that you had said in the very beginning, in February, in January, and I'm going to sort of update how you're doing. By that point, you'll already have had a consultation with the sports psychologist, and we'll kind of gauge how you're performing after that conference. I'm really going to be looking for like self awareness here, right? I would like people to identify, yeah, I used to do this, but now I don't do it anymore, because when I catch myself doing this, I walk away or something, whatever. It could be anything. But I'm really going to be looking into professional development in May. At that point, I expect everybody to be progressing to the point where, they're making regular money. There would be no reason for people to not be pulling money out of the market by May, if you're not already. June, gonna be more psychologist consultations, sort of like a post one. I'm hoping we can do like one in April, like early April during the competition, and then have another one in June to sort of gauge whether or not that helped you, or how you behaved differently from there. It's gonna be almost all sessions in June. Tends to be a good month for trading, so gonna capitalize on that. And then still gonna do bi-weekly reviews with people. They'll take about an hour, nothing crazy. And then if anyone's like really struggling or hit a wall, there will be one-on-one conferences with Until Mill or myself upon your request. July is going to be another trading competition. It's going to be the same thing. Again, there's .05 to second place as well. Live sessions mixed in. One-on-ones every week during competitions. And then, yeah, I'm going to be still expecting people to have been improving consistently. If not improving, at least maintaining an edge. If they aren't pulling profit out of the market, earlier in the year, I would expect them to be making a significant pivot come time for the second competition. Right. August going to be all sessions, and then I'm going to do the other journal review segment. It's going to be, these again, they're 4 or 5 hours long. Going to basically be going everything. Going to go over your trading competition performance. Going to go over whether any improvements you made from the prior competition. Going through any improvements in your setups. Whether your entries need refined. What your adverse excursion is for every entry on average. Whether you're starting to capitalize and getting more lucky entries, so to say. Getting filled more on bottoms or on wicks at tops. Essentially trying to min-max your performance and making sure that you're still making progress on those levels. And then, of course, your overall performance as to how, at this point, though, you should be almost on autopilot come August. You should be feeling good about the program and about your performance as a trader, and about your future performance as a trader as well. September, going to be live sessions pretty much the entire month. As you can see, as we get later on in the year, we get heavier into the live trading and into sessions, because at that point I expect everyone to be at least a little more kind of handling the personal development as on more of a one-on-one basis. Like, hey, I hit a wall here, or I'm having a rough past 3 or 4 days trading. Just reaching out when you need help. Not so much, me having to harp on you and ask you how you're doing, because if people aren't messaging me or calling me every few days, I'm going to be asking you why you're not, and things are either going to be going really good or really bad for you if you're not staying in contact with me. But I'm going to pester you if you're not keeping up to date with me. At this point, though, in September, I expect people to sort of at least refine who they are as a trader, whether or not they're going with swing trading, scalping, day trading, position trading, whatever. And I'm going to expect people to have been, selecting a market at this point. Look, you don't need to trade every single market. There's no need to. By this point, you're going to have hundreds, if not thousands, of trades cataloged. And we're going to be going through the statistical analysis on all of them together. And markets that you just fucking suck at trading, you're just not touching. Right? It could be that you suck at trading Bitcoin. All right? You could really want to trade Bitcoin so bad because everyone else trades Bitcoin and you just suck at it. But we put you on the oil market, and you have a profit factor of 2.3 with a 1.6 Sharpe ratio, and you print money better than anybody I know. We just don't know. And that's another thing that goes overlooked with a lot of people is you don't need to trade everything. You should only really be focusing on best performance, whether that depending on the type of trading and then depending on the market that you're trading. So at that point, everyone should have kind of this refined system in their heads, right? Like, I'm going to trade this market between these hours usually, and I'm going to look for mostly these setups because these are what I perform best in. And then I'm going to be keeping an eye on you to make sure you're not punting trades that are sort of outside of that outline that we had you and I have developed together by that point. You really don't need to. It bothers me when people trade their system or switch their systems up so much. It's one thing to continue looking for new things and experimenting and learning, but if you're not focusing on what you're best at, and you're not focusing on your best markets with your best setups, you're never going to really capitalize. You're never going to get into a system or the situation where you're kind of in flow with the markets and you're sort of pulling money out of it effortlessly week to week. So I want to make sure that at this point everyone is at that stage. October to December is the big competition. Whatever, 0.05 a third. I'm not going to fucking type it out. This is going to be a quarter long, almost 3 months long from October 1st to December 15th. At this point, everybody should be on the fucking ball. If anyone's performance is lagging, dragging behind, they're going to get a lot more attention from us, and Until and Mill and I are going to harp on you a fuck ton more. And if your performance sucks too bad at any point during this program or during this specific competition, you're going to get yanked off. Like, we're going to tell you you're not trading anymore. You suck. You're going to get yanked off, and we're going to focus on you. Go back to the not the drawing board per se, but make you do some paper trading for a week or two, and figure out, review your journal and figure out why the hell you're not pulling money out of the market consistently at this point. All right. If we have to, we'll bring the psychologist in again, whatever that individual ends up needing. At this point, though, I expect everybody by October 1st to, one, have a system in place, two, not make any risk management errors at all, three, be able to keep a level head no matter what, and four, I expect people to pull money out of the market on a week-by-week basis at this point. Shallow extended drawdown is fine. If the market goes to shit and we all acknowledge the market went to shit, those kinds of lapses in performance will be excused. But multi-week drawdown should not be a thing. Absolutely should never ever be a thing in trading. If so, you're likely trading too much during a bad period, or you're trading a strategy that just quite simply doesn't work for the current market conditions that you're in, and you need to start looking into a different market or something like that. Okay. Again, we're going to be babysitting your ROE, babysitting your trades submitted through Prime during the competition. What's nice about running it through them is because we can babysit you like this. We can look at the trades you're making. We can kind of look at the risk that you're taking and the size that you're taking relative to your account. And yeah, we're just going to make sure at this point everybody should have like very, very good performance for the third quarter or for the third competition. 3 months is a long time, and at that point, we would expect everybody to sort of be excelling, and not necessarily that they wouldn't still need help, but less hand holding and more psychological help, and like, hey, I'm struggling with this, or this happened today and it's never happened before, and I need some insight, that kind of stuff. In conjunction with live sessions and the weekly TA updates and the bi-weekly conferences with all of you. Okay, and then in December 15th, the program will end, and from there we're going to be conducting exit interviews from people. Going to want to, basically going to look at, where you started statistically and where you finished statistically, and then sort of your mentality, your performance money-wise, and sort of your overall opinions of the program. I wanted this to be very in-depth. I believe I kind of covered the bases. I've been working on a structure for this thing for a couple months now. Not a couple months, but about, since like early September, really. Early mid-September. And yeah, I think I got it together. I think I have a good idea of what I want to do. And yeah, this is the program, effectively. I know that it's a bit costly, and I know that I'm going to be, Until when Mill and I are going to be pricing a few people out of this program. But there are limited spots, and unless people are looking at, really looking to transition into being full-time traders, then it probably isn't going to be worth their time. Okay? Or, they're full-time traders already and really want that oversight and that hand-holding and that personal accountability to really sort of fine-tune exactly what the hell they're doing. Because it's a little bit more costly, we did make it so that people could pay, sporadically over the next 4 months, essentially. But in order to reserve your spot, you will have to pay 0.25 before the end of this year, okay, to hold your spot. And Till and Mill's in the chat now as well. At the end of this, I am going to open up a Discord section. If you're interested, you will post that you're interested. Prior scalping subscribers will get preferential treatment for spots if they want them. Otherwise, you'll be put that you're interested, and I'm going to conduct interviews with all of you. Until One Mill might jump in those interviews as well. But I'm going to conduct interviews and make sure that expectations and goals are in line, and that you're a good fit, and you're not essentially YOLOing everything on the hopes that you're going to get some money printing signals or something, because that's not what it's going to be about. Okay, and then from there, when the spots are full, the spots are full. That'll be it. Okay. So does anyone have any questions, feedback? This is the discussion part, right? You can type. You don't necessarily have to talk. I don't even know if I gave everyone speaking permissions.
Yes, can you